Hello everybody, today I'm going to be setting up a theme development environment for Ghost CMS. If you don't know what Ghost CMS is, check out try Ghost, probably, I don't know, no maybe not, ghost.org, here we go. It's a professional publishing platform, as it says here. It's built on Node. You can get hold of the source code. It's on GitHub. It looks a bit like this is what the kind of back-end CMS looks like. They have a thick client. I guess it's built on Electron. I'm saying that because it runs on, it looks exactly the same as every other Electron app I've seen, and it also runs on Linux, Windows and so on, so all the different OSs. It's pretty good. It's optimized for SEO and also has AMP pages, AMP support I should say, accelerated mobile pages, which is stuff that Google likes and I like as well. So if you're browsing Google on your mobile phone, search for something, you'll notice there'll be like a little AMP icon. If you click on that, you'll get the AMP version, and it's normally a hell of a lot faster than like a normal thing. It's a kind of modified version of HTML. It uses its own tags and so on. But anyway, I'm digressing already, so okay, cool. So this is my current website. It's pretty standard, so we're going to be changing the theme for this. Cool. So first of all, we're going to be using Docker to run everything, but let me first of all create a new directory called SteelCM theme. So the way it's going to work, so I had the Docker page up a minute ago. If I bring it up again, so we can use there's like an official Ghost image that we can use, which is great. It means we don't have to worry about kind of maintaining it. We can just update it every now and again. It's also great. We can run it on any environment. It's not a problem. It's not a big overhead. The Docker image exposes the content folder. If you've run Ghost, the content folder holds all your themes. It holds your actual content, so kind of away from stuff. So because it holds your content as well, what we want to do is we want to run our Docker container and point it to a content folder on our, let's say, local machine, our host machine, and then we want to deploy into that content folder the actual theme that we're working on. So if I jump back here, so the content folder is going to be, so the SteelCM-theme is our parent folder, right? In here we're going to have three folders. We're going to have a source folder, which is where the source of our actual theme is going to go. We're going to have a dest folder. I'm going to call it a destination folder or a dest folder. This is where the theme code will be built and deployed into. And then we're also going to have a distribution folder, which I'll get onto in a minute. So the dest folder is just going to be basically the content folder, and we can check out, let me just copy this in. So if we go over to github.com, go to like the Ghost repository, so try Ghost is the official one. We have a content folder that already exists. So basically this is what I was talking about. So we have themes, this is what we want to deploy into, but the volume will look at everything here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to grab this as is locally. So let me just jump back here. So we're going to git clone dep1 because we don't care about the history. Let's jump back here, just got one. Grab the actual git URL. Come on, there we go. And as I said, we're going to store the content folder in the dest folder, if that makes sense. Maybe I should call it content. No, I'll call it dest, it's clearer. It's a destination. So def1, we don't care about history. We're just basically pulling back the files here. So if we look in the dest folder, it's going to have everything in, right? And we just want this content folder, okay? We just want this in the root, so we don't want everything else. So the way we can do that is, whoops, let me move my mouse, is we can filter the branch and prune out the empty bits and bobs. and then filter it down to the subdirectory. Did I spell that right? Yep. Now if we list, there we go. So in the same folder, but instead of the content being down here, it's now actually in the root of dest. Okay. So there we go. So if we go into themes, we already have the Casper theme there. This is fine. But what we want to do is we want to set up our Docker image now. So we want our Docker to deploy into here. If we just view what we've got running, let me just stop this one because we're going to use this. So I'm going to just remove this container because we want to use this one. So there we go. Oops. There you go. So we have no containers at the moment. So we're going to create a new container. Let's call it the same name as what we had just then. So SteelCM theme. So this is our Docker container. We're going to have the ports 8080. If you look on the, as I brought up earlier, we have this kind of official Ghost Docker hub on the hub, and in here it has the information, but basically 2368 is the port that it will be listening on, but we want to expose it as 8080 just publicly, just to make things easy. And now finally we have volumes. We have a volume that is exposed, and we want to point it at the content folder which we just created. So it's in dest, right? And this maps up to this following volume. Okay, we're gonna run this in the background for the moment, and we're gonna base it on the Ghost Docker image that we were just looking at on the hub. There we go. And there we go, so it's running. So if we now open up localhost 8080, we have a wonderful default Ghost platform that's running. So next we want to just set up everything so we're logged in. So we're going to create an account, we're going to call it chris@email.com, we don't care. Admin, we don't care. Password, we don't care. And then for demonstration purposes, let's just keep it, close to whatever in here. So blog title, Christopher Steele, it's my personal website. Jump into general, let's just update this description. So there we go, save. Now if we go to localhost 8080, okay, very good. Okay, so first of all, if we look at content, we've got the welcome, Ghost post, we don't care about that, so let's delete it. And then this brings me on to the next cool thing, which is that a guy called Nick is Noble has taken the WordPress theme unit tests, and what this is, if you don't know, so WordPress is a alternative CMS that you can use. It's PHP, it's been around for longer, so it has a lot more plugins available for it, has a big user base. It's kind of a bit heavy. I don't want to say bloated, but it's kind of getting that way. It's it's a bit bigger. That's why I prefer Ghost. But anyway, it does have this test data, which essentially is a bunch of stuff, a bunch of pages, so posts and whatnot, that get loaded into WordPress. Now, this guy, Nick is Noble, has converted that over to the JSON required for Ghost. So we can take this and load it straight into our running application. So let me just jump back here. So go back to labs, go to import. So we deleted everything, right? So we have nothing in content. Go back to labs, choose a file, select the JSON, and then import. Now if we go to content, boom, we have all this kind of dummy data. So the reason we want to load in dummy data is because, you know, we want to develop against something. We want to be able to see something so that we can work on it. So there we go, refresh the page, boom, beautiful, beautiful. And we've got lots of cool stuff in here. So we've got like an image, let's see, beautiful. All kinds of gubbins, YouTubes as well, the YouTubes, Rick Astley, classic. Okay, great. So we've got Ghost running on Docker. We have it looking at our content folder, and we have loaded in some dummy data. So what do we need to do next? Well, next we need to actually create our theme. So to do this, we're going to base it off the Casper theme for simplicity. So if we go back here, let's try Ghost. Casper, there we go. So we've got a default theme here called Casper. So very similar to what we were doing just now, we're going to copy this into our source directory. So we go, got dest. So next, exactly the same as what we did before. Def 1, we don't care about the history, this is just for demonstration. And we're copying it into the source. So if we go to source, there we go, we've got a bunch of gubbins. This does have some stuff that we want to actually remove out of it, so it will have open up Explorer, we'll be able to see it. We have a .git folder that we don't want. So let's get rid of that. If I can. Oh, blimey. So we're going to remove git. And we're going to make that recursive. Yep. Right. Cool. So this is in our source folder. This will be our own theme at some point. So what we want to do next is we want to just update the. Tell you what, I'll go up a directory. We'll open this up in code. Visual Studio Code. It's a great tool. So package.json. When we load this theme into Ghost, it's going to look at this package.json for some information about it. So it's going to look at the name and the version and so on and so forth. Obviously update this to your heart's content, but for this example we're just going to call it SteelCM theme. And it's the first version, so it's 0.0.1. Okay. Okay, so now we've done that, what we want to do is we want to set up our build pipelines so that when we make a change to that the stuff in the source folder, in this folder, it gets deployed up here and into the themes directory up here. Okay, and it will get loaded in here as something slightly separate. So it'll be loaded in as, you know, SteelCM theme. So to do this, we're going to use gulp. An npm, and we're going to run this from the root of the whole application. So let's create a new file here called, well, it's going to be called package.json again. So let's just save that. And then we want to install a couple of things. So we want to do npm install save dev gulp. You might have gulp already set up globally, in which case you don't need to do this. But yeah, we'll just load it in. We then want to do the same thing, but we want to do it with watch. Boom. So you see we've got our dev dependencies now. And then we need another file in here called our gulp file. .js, and in here we're going to write some code. So first of all, we're going to pull in the dependencies that we need. So we want to use Gulp. If you don't know what Gulp is a task runner in JavaScript for Node, or runs on Node, I should say. It's pretty nifty, so we can do kind of pipelines of it. We can, connect tasks together. It's great. So if you're using CSS precompilers, you can run them through Gulp, and you can join them with other things. So for example, if we're writing our theme using Sass, then we could run it through using Gulp to actually build the Sass into proper CSS. If we have images, then we can compress the images again using Gulp, so we don't have to worry about that, so on and so forth. Anyway, let's just load in that Gulp watch. And right, what else do we need? Okay, so we're just going to do a bit of like coding. So we're going to create a new task called watch, and it is going to, what's it going to do? So it's going to use some source, and I will put source out separately. So the source is our theme files, so that's under /source. And because we want all the files at every depth, we're going to do that, which means grab any folder and any file in any folder. Okay. And just make this the root. Okay. And then we're going to pipe this, so this is the kind of tasky part of it, and we're going to type it into the watch task that we loaded earlier up here, right? Oh no, wait, yeah. Go do the same thing. And then finally we want to kind of output it to a destination. So we've grabbed all our files, we're looking at these files, we're watching them for a change, and then what are we going to do with them? Well, we're actually going to move them. So we're going to put them to a destination, and we're going to create another variable for this. So let's create it there. And the destination is going to be dest. Now we don't want it to go directly into dest, we actually want it to go into a subdirectory, if you remember. So we actually want it to go into themes. So dest themes, and then what have we called it? Still CM theme, right? So this is the folder it's going to output to. And there we go. So now if we're down here and we do Gulp watch, boom, it's gone here. We now have all our files here that are in source. So if we're working in source and we decide to change, let's say, the index handlebars theme, and we're going to add something in here, we're just going to add, like a Chris is awesome. Obviously. Save that. We should now be able to go into themes, Steel CM, open index.hbs, and boom, it has the same stuff in it. Okay? So it's getting moved automatically. And as I mentioned earlier, this is copying like for like from here into there. That's fine. But actually, we might want to add stuff in here. So we might want to have Sass files and so on. Now, Ghost doesn't do kind of CSS pre-compilation on the fly. So we'd have to compile it. And we could easily do that in our Gulp file. We could set that up and it will just get compiled into CSS and then moved into the theme folder. So boom. So there you go. So that's that. Now what's next? Well, we need to be able to actually view it. So if we jump back here, let's close some of this stuff. So this is exactly the same. Nothing's changed. That's because we haven't changed Casper. We need to select our theme. And if you go to general, yes, I think it's general. There's only the Casper theme showing. Now we did update everything, but Ghost only looks at the theme folder on startup. So what we need to do is we need to restart our Docker container. So there you go. Just wait a few minutes for that to happen. There we go. Refresh the page. Boom. Still CM theme 0.0.1. Let's activate that. And now if we go to our local host, Chris is awesome at the top there. Brilliant. So there you go. That's pretty much it. But finally, how do you actually get this onto your site? So we can now develop in our source folder. We can do everything. We can see the changes happen automatically. That's another thing I'll show you actually is if I, let me just close all, source, let's go into here. Let's just change this to like Chris is awesome too. Yeah. So we made a change. Just by refreshing, you see it comes in. And there's various other things that Gulp can help us with in this respect. So on the kind of watch task, we could set something up to automatically refresh the page on any change to those files, which means that we'd always see you know, the latest in our browser without even having to refresh. But finally, how do we get this theme once we've finished it up onto our server? So to do that, we want to actually add another task into our Gulp file, and we want to basically zip up the contents of the theme folder and have that, and that's what's going to go into our next folder in this root called dist. So to do that, we need to add a couple of new things in here. So let me just cancel out of here. We want to install Gulp. I have to try and remember what it's called now. I think it's called Gulp Zip. That makes sense to me. Yep, Gulp Zip. Sorry. Gulp Zip. That should be saved into here. Let's have a look. Sorry, into here. Gulp Zip. Yep. And now we're just going to add some stuff in. So zip equals require Gulp Zip. Perfect. We're going to add, so we've got destination, and now we're going to add another one called distribution. Distribution equals dist. There you go. Just like that. And then finally we're going to add another task in here that we can call on its own, called, let's say, package. So what we want to do is we want to grab the same source as down here, exactly the same, but we're going to do something slightly different now. So we're going to pipe it into the zip that we just loaded in, and this just takes the name, so we're going to call it archive.zip. And then finally we want to output it to a destination as well. So wait a minute, let's just copy that. Exactly the same, except we're going to, instead of deploy it to destination, we're going to deploy it to the distribution destination. Okay, save that, and then we can just run down here, Gulp package. There we go. This folder's just appeared with archive.zip. And if I was going to run this locally, there you go. So I've opened it using Windows Explorer, and you can see we've got everything in there. So there we go. And then if you then log into your main website, obviously this is the one running in Docker, but if you were to do this on your live site, then all you need to do is upload the theme and then kind of load it in here, that zip file. And that is that.